The observation deck of Haven Station trembled as another Kresh hunter slammed against the outer hull. Captain Elena Vasquez didn't flinch. 28 years of this had taught her that fear was a luxury humanity could no longer afford. "Third wave incoming from Sector 7, Lieutenant Chen announced, his voice steady despite the sweat beading on his forehead. 46 hostiles. Maybe more. Elena nodded, her weathered hands gripping the railing. Through the reinforced viewport she could see them, writhing masses of chitin and fury, each Kresh beast the size of a shuttlecraft, their bioluminescent organs pulsing with hatred. They had devoured the galaxy world by world, species by species. Humanity's crime had been surviving this long. 28 years ago, the Galactic Council had dismissed Earth's warnings. The Kresh were manageable, they said. Contained to the outer rim. The Council's arrogance had killed them first. Within 6 months, 1,000 civilizations had been consumed. Within a year, only humanity remained, clustered in this hidden nebula they'd named Haven, a cruel joke considering they were merely postponing the inevitable. Or so the galaxy had thought. "Activate the resonance grid," Elena commanded. The lieutenant's fingers danced across the console. Throughout Haven Station, a network of crystalline pylons hummed to life. They were humanity's greatest achievement, born from desperation and the ruins of alien technology. While other species had relied on their advanced weaponry, humans had done what they did best: adapted, improvised, and refused to die quietly. The Kresh hunters suddenly convulsed in the void, their bodies seizing as the resonance grid emitted frequencies that disrupted their neural clusters. It was a weapon no other species had conceived, because no other species had been so utterly outmatched that they needed to think differently. Humanity had studied their enemy with the obsessive focus of the damned, learning that the Kresh's greatest strength, their hive mind coordination, was also their weakness. "Grid at 70% effectiveness," Chen reported. "They're adapting faster this time." Of course they were. The Kresh learned too. This was the dance humanity had perfected over nearly 3 decades. Innovate, survive, innovate again. Elena had been 24 when the galaxy fell, a junior officer aboard a research vessel. Now at 52, she was one of the eldest survivors, having outlived 2 generations of warriors who'd bought humanity time with their lives. "Launch the Hornets," she ordered. From Haven Station's underbelly, dozens of small craft erupted into the void. They weren't elegant ships. Humanity had abandoned elegance when elegance meant death. The Hornets were crude, fast, and piloted by volunteers who understood that survival meant sacrifice. Each carried a pilot and a single devastating payload: compressed antimatter cores wrapped in Kresh biological material. The aliens had thought humanity weak because they had no natural weapons, no chitinous armor, no acid blood. They hadn't understood that humanity's weapon was their mind, and their willingness to use the enemy's own biology against them. The Hornets swarmed through the disoriented Kresh formation. Pilot Maria Santos, barely 19, weaved through grasping tentacles with reflexes honed by a lifetime of war. She'd been born on Haven Station, had never seen Earth's blue skies except in faded photographs. Her childhood lullabies were the sounds of hull breaches and emergency klaxons. "Target locked," Maria whispered, more prayer than report. She released her payload directly into a cluster of Kresh hunters. The antimatter detonated, but it was the biological catalyst that made the difference. The Kresh material triggered a cascade reaction in their hive mind network, causing them to turn on each other in confused frenzy. It was beautiful and horrible, watching the galaxy's apex predators destroy themselves because humanity had weaponized their own nature against them. But the victory was temporary. It always was. "Captain, long-range sensors detecting a Leviathan class approaching." Chen's voice finally cracked. "ETA 6 hours. The observation deck fell silent. Leviathans were different. Larger than Haven Station itself, they were the Kresh's planet killers. The beasts that had cracked Earth's moon like an eggshell before humanity fled into deep space. The resonance grid wouldn't stop something that size. The Hornets would be gnats against its hide. Elena closed her eyes briefly, allowing herself one moment of despair. Then she opened them, and they burned with the same stubborn fury that had kept humanity alive while gods and empires crumbled. "Activate Protocol Defiance," she said quietly. Chen's eyes widened. "Captain, I know what it is, Lieutenant." Protocol Defiance was humanity's final card, their most desperate gamble. For 28 years, they'd been building something in Haven's core, a weapon that would either save them or erase their last refuge from existence. It operated on principles that made quantum physics look simple, drawing power from the fabric of space-time itself. The galaxy's greatest minds had deemed such technology impossible, but those minds were dead, consumed by the crash. Only humanity remained, too stubborn or too stupid to accept impossibility. "All hands, this is Captain Vasquez," Elena announced station-wide. "In 6 hours, we either prove that humanity deserves its place among the stars, or we go out fighting. Either way, the Kresh will remember us." Throughout Haven Station, thousands of humans prepared. Farmers who'd never seen farmland. Engineers who'd rebuilt the station countless times. Children who drew pictures of the Earth they'd never known. They were the last of their kind, forged in fire and fury. The Leviathan approached, a mountain of hatred and hunger, confident in its power. It had devoured empires. What could one small station do? It was about to learn what 28 years of human spite and ingenuity looked like. In the observation deck, Elena Vasquez smiled. It wasn't a happy expression. It was the smile of a species that had looked at extinction and said, "Not today." The galaxy had fallen. But humanity was still standing. And that made all the difference.